The top female star sought a sham marriage to escape her mother's urge to marry her off. She unexpectedly found a guy who loves fencing to have a sham marriage with. She thought this way, the other party wouldn't have ulterior motives. However, when we met, I mistook her for someone else. To her surprise, she ended up marrying you, who was also being pressured to marry. But when you dealt with Liang's family, and were ready to file for divorce, she boldly revealed the marriage certificate during a live interview. Addressing an audience of 3 billion worldwide, she proudly announced their marriage. 6 months ago, you accidentally traveled to this blue planet. Unable to stand your mom's urge to marry, you proposed to your star girlfriend with whom you had been sleeping in separate beds for 2.5 years. But she said you couldn't give her what she wanted. She ended the relationship because of the life she wanted. Watching Lu Ruoyan turn away, you felt that the sacrifices made for the original owner, Chilma, over 5 years were not worth it. And you were also ready to embrace your brand new life. But she said you couldn't give her what she wanted. You planned to find a woman for a sham marriage first, to deal with your mom's urge to marry. One day, through your friend Xiao Hai's introduction, you are waiting at a cafe for your sham marriage partner. Before long, a man wearing a baseball cap and sunglasses appears in front of you. Hello, are you the person I'm supposed to get the marriage certificate with? The woman speaking has an exceptional presence. Her slightly exposed delicate face and red lips make you momentarily dazed. It's me, you answer hesitantly. At the same time, you feel a bit strange. A sham marriage isn't illegal, so there's no need to wrap yourself up so tightly, right? The woman gracefully takes out her phone and says softly, I am Yi Qinghan. My name is Gu Qinghan. We will have more interactions in the future. Let's add each other as friends first. You nodded. Then you stood up and took out your phone. Gu Qinghan finally took a serious look at you through his sunglasses. But she discovered that this cover was surprisingly handsome. What a pity. Gu Qinghan quietly commented on the appearance. Then, as if nothing had happened, she continued speaking. The Civil Affairs Bureau is just across the road. I am very busy with work. Let's get the certificate while we can. You slightly reacted upon hearing this. What a pity. Aren't we going to sit down and chat? But as she spoke, her hand reached out to grab your wrist. Without further ado, she pulled you outside the store. The cool, smooth touch made you a bit startled. Without having time to think, you followed her pace. You thought that it was all just a pretense anyway. As long as you handle the divorce later. This woman must be powerful and influential. Once you entered the Civil Affairs Bureau, you were taken to the VIP room. It seemed that everything inside had already been prepared. After a while, the staff came over with 2 marriage certificates. Oh, Qinghan didn't have any. She simply tossed them into her bag without looking. As you opened the marriage certificate and looked at the photo section, you took a deep breath. In 2 lifetimes, you had never seen such a beautiful woman before. There was not a single flaw in her smile. At a glance, it was clear she was a natural beauty. Looking at the photo of the two of you, Gu Qinghan looked slightly surprised as well. After pulling you to the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau, she slapped a card into your hand and said, This is the room key for Villa 101 at Longhu Blue Shore. We're going to stay here for now. You looked at the card in your hand with some confusion. After hesitating for a moment, you nodded and said, All right. Gu Qinghan saw that you were so agreeable, and she nodded in satisfaction before getting into the car and leaving. You returned to the cafe. Looking at the marriage certificate on the table felt abstract. You thought you could have the marriage certificate torn up in 20 minutes. Just when you were packing up to leave, a woman of equal beauty called out your name. Hearing your name, you felt. You turned around and saw the woman glaring at you. She was angrily pointing at the marriage certificate. You are already married. You even came here to pretend to marry me. Is it fun to toy with people like this? Your mind hadn't caught up, and you stammered. You are the person supposed to marry me. Otherwise, I even brought the household registration booklet. Hearing this, you were completely stunned. What is going on? This woman is the one I was supposed to have a flash marriage with. Then who was the woman just now? The woman started to complain to you. She only stormed off after feeling the gazes around her. On the other side, Yi Qinghan, who was driving, frowned in thought. She never expected that as a top female star in the entertainment industry, she is also the behind-the-scenes boss of the leading entertainment company, Huaxing Entertainment. In the end, she couldn't escape her mother's urge to marry. Fortunately, she has successfully obtained the marriage certificate. Now, she can focus on her career. At this moment, her agent and best friend, Hua Jia, called. What happened to Sister Hua? I just got the certificate with that person. As soon as the words left her mouth, Hua Jia's tone clearly sounded off. What? The person I introduced to you hasn't arrived yet. Who did you get the marriage certificate with? Gu Qinghan was taken aback for a moment. Then, panicking, she said. No way. He claimed it was a sham marriage. I asked him, and he agreed. The person I introduced to you just departed. You must have gotten the wrong one. You're saying his name is Ji Boda, right? Gu Qinghan suddenly felt confusion flood her mind. A sham marriage is such an unlikely event. How could someone possibly get it wrong? Unconvinced, Gu Qinghan took out the red book with one hand from his bag. But the next second, she completely panicked. She saw the male party's name listed boldly in the column. Xiao Yunran. At this moment, Hua Jia sent over a photo of that person. Gu Qinghan looked at the photo of the man in suspenders with disbelief. She had a face full of disbelief. Initially, she just wanted to find someone to be in a sham marriage with. This way, she could prevent this man from having ulterior motives toward her. And she could put on a show in front of her parents. She began to recall the expressions and actions from their first meeting to when they received the certificate. She thought about how you would gaze at her in the restaurant, looking dazed. And how you would stammer while doing so. She also remembered how you lingered when you saw her face after they hadn't finalized the certificate. This was clearly not the way someone trying to cover up would act. At this moment, Yi Qinghan was utterly bewildered with anger. Just thinking about how she rushed to get the certificate earlier. After it was done, she thought everything would be fine. She wanted to slap herself hard. The famous top female star Gu Qinghan was attending a music event. Her persona was that of a career-driven woman who didn't engage in romance. But secretly, she was getting a marriage certificate with someone behind the scenes. Gu Qinghan was inexplicably drenched in cold sweat. If she got caught by paparazzi or obsessive fans, then she would definitely be ruined. No, wait. Gu Qinghan suddenly seemed to think of something. She instantly began to grind her teeth in anger. Xiao Yunran was nothing but an obsessive fan. At that time, he hadn't eaten or drunk coffee. He must have been waiting for her. Qinghan, are you listening? Should we prepare for this? We need to write a PR statement in advance. Gu Qinghan took a deep breath and then said coldly, right. Of course, I need to write. If he dares to expose any photos or videos, then it will be a lawyer's letter warning. Alright. Just focus on the rehearsal this afternoon. Leave the other things to me. Who is eliminated in the first season of Who is the Singer? Gu Qinghan is troubled by the flu and the pressure to marry. This has put her show's ranking in jeopardy. The performance this afternoon is about to begin. And she has this huge mess on her hands. Thinking of this, Gu Qinghan cursed you in her heart again. Divorce. She must leave the charm tonight. Meanwhile, you were reluctantly strumming your guitar in your rented apartment, worrying about your flash marriage partner. Frustrated, you opened VA Station, the largest creative amateur music platform in the country. This place is filled with amateur musicians and critics. You also enjoy sharing music with everyone. Plus, you've already broken up, so you start to strum and sing. Originally prepared for Lu Ruoyan. The intro of this song is very easy to use. It was misunderstood as an instrumental piece. But when the first line is sung, even the Dragon King of the Sea gets emo. Can't help but transform into a glory and return to the northern heart. Can't help but turn into a stubborn fish, swimming against the ocean current alone. You've been singing for 3 rounds. You edited the one you were most satisfied with, then uploaded it to the VA site. The video only showed the up and down movements of the Adam's apple and a white shirt, and slender fingers strumming the beautiful guitar. When publishing the video, you thought for a long time. Ultimately, you decided to get quirky. Are you not happy today? Come and listen to this song full of hope for tomorrow. After the video was released, you opened the chat page with Gu Qinghan. After much hesitation, you typed a message. Miss Gu, I don't have much luggage and will be moving in soon. Can you tell me the Wi-Fi password? However, after waiting for 5 minutes, you still did not receive a response from her. This made you feel a bit awkward looking at the sent message. You wanted to say something but accidentally hit delete. In the end, you decided to take it step by step. Then you silently recited the address in your mind. You arrived at the neighborhood and found the villa. After opening the door, a meow broke the silence. You looked down and found it was a calico cat. Out of respect for the original resident, you smiled and beckoned to the little cat. To your surprise, the cat slowly walked towards you. It seemed to take quite a liking to you, the outsider. The little guy is quite cute. You pet the calico cat that has taken a liking to you. And the cat is also lying in your arms, squinting its eyes in enjoyment. Can't help but transform into a stubborn fish. This is quite good for you. Meanwhile, at the Jianghai TV station's Who is the Singer live show, the host is interviewing Lu Ruoyan, who is about to sing. May I ask if you think you can defeat Gu Qingha this time? I think it depends on both sides' conditions. I believe my current condition is quite good. On the stage, Lu Ruoyan confidently answered with her signature smile. The audience was filled with voices cheering for her. Meanwhile, Gu Qingchen frowned backstage due to a poor performance. Hua Jia was brainstorming ideas on the side. Qinghan, the song for tomorrow is quite challenging. How about we change the song? If we perform poorly again, we are very likely to be eliminated early. Gu Qinghan didn't rush to answer. Instead, she began scrolling through unread messages on her phone. When Gu Qinghan saw your message asking for the Wi-Fi password, Gu Qinghan let out a cold hum. She decided to ignore your message. Meanwhile, just as you were complaining about the cat, you suddenly received a message from Xiao Hai. Brother Yun, the girl I introduced to you. She came back and scolded me. You had no choice but to briefly explain what happened. Oh, that's fine. As long as you successfully handle the sham marriage at home, it's fine. Right. Have you seen this video on VA station? Xiao Hai sent another message. Even though I've never been in a relationship, this video has already made me feel what heartbreak is like. If I catch this author, I would definitely torture him piece by piece. Oh, I've heard it too, but if this song were played with other instruments, it might be even better. You smiled encouragingly at your phone, deciding to temporarily hide the fact that you are the author he wants to torture. As expected of Brother Yun, Xiao Hai exclaimed. No more talking. I feel incredibly strong right now. I'm going to prepare a new song. You also put away your phone and got up from the sofa. Then you locked the door and went out to buy groceries. Although it's a flash sham marriage, you still have responsibilities to fulfill. Not long after you left, Gu Qinghan and her group also returned from the rehearsal site. Upon returning home, you saw a guitar on the living room table. Gu Qingchen looked puzzled with her beautiful eyes. At this moment, Hua Jia also noticed the unfamiliar guitar on the table. Whose guitar is this? Why does it look like it has been used quite a bit? Gu Qingchen shook his head and frowned impatiently. I don't know. Maybe it's Xiao Yunran's. Hua Jia naturally understood what Gu Qinghan was thinking. I consulted a lawyer. Now, a divorce requires a 1-month cooling-off period. What? Gu Qinghan's beautiful eyes widened in shock. The hope of divorce immediately vanished in her heart. We had no choice but to start discussing countermeasures with Hua Jia. When you finished buying the groceries and returned home, you saw your sham marriage wife, sitting on the sofa, cold as ice. In front of her was a contract. The unknown woman next to her also had a serious expression. You're back, Gu Qingchen said with irritation. To Qian, the stalker who peeped at me. She felt no affection at all. A frosty gaze filled her pretty face as she stared intently at you. You still looked at her in confusion. What's wrong? Hua Jia gave you a slight nod upon seeing you. After all, you were indeed very handsome. Even though you were dressed in clothes that cost only 9 yuan on Pinduoduo, it couldn't overshadow your impeccable charisma. What puzzled Hua Jia, however, was that someone like you, a Saising fan, looked at Gu Qinghan with eyes full of evasion. This is completely different from the Saising fans she met before. If it weren't for Gu, I'll go cook first. You looked at Gu Qingchen and said emotionlessly. Gu Qinghan reached out to pick up the agreement in front of her. You put those vegetables down first. Come over and sign an agreement. You nodded and didn't say anything. As for the agreement and such, you can accept anything as long as it doesn't harm yourself. After reading through the entire agreement, you found that it only restricted you from getting close to the other party. You signed it quite readily. In fact, this agreement is something Yi Qinghan would not have listed. You would follow it as well. One reason is that this is a sham marriage you are dealing with. No need to take it too seriously. The second reason is that the other party's temperament is very similar to someone like Lu Ruoyan. It makes you quite uncomfortable. Moreover, it seems that the other party is also a well-known figure in the domestic entertainment industry. After experiencing the breakup with your ex-girlfriend, you now have no good feelings for the entertainment industry. Gu Qinghan coldly stared at the changes in your expression. She noticed that you hadn't furrowed your brow the entire time. As if you were really just looking for someone to have a sham marriage with. Does he not recognize me? Gu Qingchuan's previously furrowed brow relaxed slightly at this thought. Just like that. The agreement is made in 2 copies, each to be kept by you. Gu Qinghan picked up the agreement with her delicate hand and said coldly, staring at you. I have already contacted a lawyer. We will divorce in a month. You nodded after hearing this and didn't say much more. A month is enough for you to start from scratch in this world. After that, Gu Qinghan arranged a guest room for you. This room is neither too big nor too small, but you are quite satisfied. After asking for the Wi-Fi password, you went to cook. Gu Qingchen opened his phone to watch videos on the VA site, to listen to this cheerful song, hoping for a better tomorrow. Gu Qinghan couldn't help but relax her brow upon seeing the title of the video. The ordinary person platform really understands me. I know I've had so many sweet thoughts today. I specially chose a song to comfort my heart. When Gu Qinghan put on her headphones and closed her eyes to enjoy the intro, she couldn't help but admire the song in her heart. But as soon as the first line started, she became restless. Hastily opened my eyes to check the ID. She found out it wasn't some big shot from the ordinary person platform. Instead, it was a newcomer named He Yun. Looking at the video that had 5 million views in just 5 hours, Gu Qingchun raised her eyebrows, her eyes filled with surprise. Delicate fingers are a one-click triple whammy. After a while, once again, you called Gu Qinghan to eat together after finishing cooking. At that moment, Yi Qingchun was looking down at the comments. Originally, she planned to say to have the hotel deliver the meal, but the aroma of the dishes on the dining table suddenly drilled into her nostrils. You watched Gu Qinghan staring at the 3 dishes in front of her. Couldn't help but joke. This is the first time using the utensils here and I'm not used to it, so I didn't do it very well. If you don't want to eat, just order takeout. But Gu Qinghan was already completely attracted by the aroma. Her tone softened a bit, but she still pretended to be impatient and said, "Just eat first. Ordering takeout still takes a long time. I'm starving already." "Okay." You nodded and filled a bowl of rice for her. Gu Qinghan tentatively added a piece of pork rib. Then she mixed it with rice and took small bites into her mouth. The taste is not bad." Gu Qinghan glanced at you with her peripheral vision while eating. She thought you would steal glances at yourself while eating. But she found out you were actually looking at your phone the whole time. And she even smiled. This made the originally complacent pressure. Qinghan suddenly felt a mix of embarrassment and anger. Eating is just eating. Why play on the phone? After hearing this, you nodded thoughtfully. Then you opened your video and continued to focus on your meal. Yi Qingchun was stunned upon hearing this melody. At the same time, she looked at you suspiciously and asked, "Do you also like this song?" "Oh, of course. It would be even better if it were played on the piano." You candidly expressed your regret at that time. Gu Qinghan did not expect your thoughts to be the same as hers. Looking at you with some surprise, she said, "Have you studied music?" "I've only had some exposure to music. I guess it's half a hobby." You continued eating your food without looking up, talking to yourself. After dinner, you returned to your room. "I called my mom. Mom, I've already registered my marriage with my girlfriend. You don't have to worry." Outside the door, Gu Qingchun was listening to you say this. She thought to herself, gritting her teeth, "This jerk. You should know that the girlfriend you mentioned is the top female star in the mainland. National goddess I Ching Hui Gu Qingjiu." After hanging up with my mom, I took a deep breath, and, after organizing my thoughts, opened the door. At that moment, Gu Qingchun had changed into her pajamas. Sitting on the couch, showing her cute little feet, watching a TV drama. You hesitated for a moment but still spoke up. My mom asked me to take you to." However, before you could finish, Gu Qinghan interrupted you. "Even though it was a fake marriage, we still have to pretend to meet the parents." Although Yi Qinghan was reluctant, she still bit her lip and said it. Anyway, she would still need to use him as a shield later. "Everything is fine." You silently nodded. You returned to your room again. You opened VA again. The message section in the upper right corner was already overflowing. It was all likes, follows, and private messages. "Master Gu Yun, you haven't updated your video for 5 minutes 7. Even the donkey in the production team wouldn't dare to rest like this. Master Gu Yun, may I ask what your address is? I want to send you some local specialties. Upstairs. Is your local specialty blades?" You laughed when you saw these comments. This is the end result of clickbait. After watching for a while again, you decided to take a shower first. Meanwhile, Gu Qinghan had returned to her room. She was sitting on the bed, preparing to send a private message to Master Gu Yun. After much thought, she still didn't send the carefully written words. But instead, "I opened my alt account and..." She thought to herself, if Master Gu Yun disagrees, she would call on her main account. If she could get the copyright for this song, then she would definitely achieve good results in tomorrow's show. Gu Qinghan thought with great anticipation. After taking a shower, you also checked your private messages. Huaxing Entertainment. "Hello, Master Yun. We want to buy the rights to this song." Jianqing Entertainment. "Master Gloomy Cloud. We want to buy all the rights to this song. The price is shocking." Shining Star Entertainment. After seeing the information about these 3 companies, you didn't get too excited. You simply edited a similar message to send to them. "Selling the cover rights for 100,000. This price is unimaginable for VA stations." The blogger couldn't imagine such a number. But only you know how great the potential is for this first time. Moreover, you have already planned to establish your own studio. Selling the rights for 100,000 isn't worth it. However, just 3 minutes later, Huaxing Entertainment quickly agreed to it. They immediately sent over the electronic contract. After carefully checking, you found no issues and agreed. You also sent over your bank account number. Mainly because you urgently need money to buy various musical instruments and professional equipment. At that moment, your phone received a notification from the bank. Your bank account has received a deposit of 100,000 yuan. That was fast, it's already in the account. You were a bit surprised by how quickly the balance in your card changed. But you quickly bought some professional equipment. And you transferred 10,000 yuan to your sister. Soon, you received a call from your sister. Someone transferred 10,000 yuan to my card. Did I fall for a scam? Hearing your sister's naive words, you smiled and said, it's because your brother made some money. You don't need to save this 10,000 yuan. Use it up and just let me know. After chatting with your sister for a while, you saw a message from someone named Mujin. Hello. May I ask if the copyright for this song is for sale? Sorry. No, the copyright is not for sale. The major cover rights for this song have already been sold to Washing Entertainment. After you replied to this message, a familiar profile picture and name caught your eye. Lu Ruoyan, hello. Master Lonely Cloud. Meeting shop. I want to talk about the copyright of the skinhead. You stare at the phone screen, feeling a mix of emotions. This song was originally meant to be gifted to Lu Ruoyan. Now she comes to buy the copyright for herself. But you don't want to have any ties with her anymore. Sorry. I have already sold the cover rights to Washing Entertainment for 100,000. I have no plans to sell the copyright now. After thinking, you typed this line. Not to mention that you are already considered a married man. Let alone that you only want the money for the manuscript now. You don't want to talk about any bullshit romance anymore. Lu Ruoyan was startled when she saw this message. Acted so quickly. However, buying the copyright this time was not in the plans. So she could only admit she was out of luck. Meanwhile, Gu Qingchun was very happy to know that his company obtained the cover rights. He was also very pleased. He even stated that he would be willing to pay double the price for the next new song. You saw this anonymous account say that. They just logged off after replying with a comment. Just kidding. Spending 100,000 on the rights to cover an amateur song is already outrageous. Not to mention double the price. And at this moment in Gu Qingchun's room on the 3rd floor, Yi Qinghan looked at the message you sent with a frown. Isn't this a bit too aloof for the top female star? They were just responding out of courtesy. Thinking this, Gu Qingshan clicked into your profile a bit more. Upon discovering that your IP address is in the same city as hers, Gu Qingchun suddenly felt a bit mischievous. If she used Washing Entertainment's account to invite the top female star, wouldn't that cause her image to collapse? The next morning, you woke up as usual and prepared breakfast. Gu Qingchun had originally planned to have the hotel deliver the food, but once she smelled how delicious your cooking was, she immediately came over eagerly to eat without hesitation. As a Saising fan, I ended up marrying myself. A meal as compensation seems reasonable, right? But when Gu Qinghan caught sight of you, just like last night, you simply ignored her while looking at your phone. Instantly, her cheeks puffed up with anger. Her gaze towards you turned resentful. You're so good at cooking. It's because you've been in a relationship before, right? Suddenly hearing this question, you replied, somewhat surprised. Why are you asking this out of the blue? Just a reminder. We can't interfere in each other's private lives. That's only natural. I also don't like to interfere in each other's personal lives. You responded while eating and looking at your phone. You didn't even glance up the entire time. Gu Qingchun, with her round face and apricot-shaped eyes, stared at you. It seemed like she misheard something. As a natural beauty myself, even just biting a child could be a photo shoot. The man in front of you remains oblivious. This immediately infuriated Gu Qinghan. Remember to wash the bowl. After saying that, she stood up coldly, placed the bowl on the table, and left. You looked up, puzzled, at Yi Qinghan as she walked out. Before you could wrap your head around it, Gu Qingchun suddenly walked in again. A pair of beautiful eyes fixed on you, filled with confusion and anger. Don't you have to go out to work? Oh, I'm still looking for a job. Just temporarily staying at home. Take your time drinking the porridge. Meanwhile, the cat Fubao was rubbing against your leg. Gu Qinghan opened her mouth to speak but couldn't find the words. This Saising fan. Does he really think of himself as a sugar baby? And what about your cat? Why are you hugging a stranger? Can he give you anything to eat? Gu Qingchun glared at you with an unfriendly expression. Then just stay at home and be good. Also, remember to feed the cat. If the cat goes missing, then I won't let this go. After saying that, she turned and left. However, at that moment, you called out to her. What now? Yi Qingchun, who was anxious to go to the company to practice a new song, said impatiently. Drive slowly on the way. Be careful. What are we having for dinner? You glared at Yi Qingchun with fiery eyes. Although the voice was low, it sounded particularly loud in this empty room. Gu Qinghan's eyes flickered as she hesitated to speak, but she quickly retorted stubbornly and slammed the door shut. It's none of your business. However, less than 10 seconds after the door closed, Yi Qingchun opened the door and coldly threatened you. I want extra noodles. If you don't make the noodles, you're done for. You shook your head helplessly. There's no way. Who asked me to be living under someone else's roof? After the meal, with nothing to do, you opened the VA site. You started checking the comments and private messages on your videos. In the comments section, aside from some friendly comments, there were also many trying to ride the wave. Some even got into arguments in the comments. Among them was a million-follower blogger questioning your originality, and a borderline blogger who was creating content about you. You felt little turmoil inside about this. In the world of the internet, one can only get 100 insults to receive food from 1,000 admirers. Just as you sent the sheet music and lyrics to Washing Entertainment, a private message from a 100,000 follower blogger came through. They asked about Yun Dazang. Lord Goyen, can I use your song as background music for a dance? You curiously clicked on Audrey Kat's profile. It was filled with videos showcasing bald figures set to music. On a music-focused site like VA, it was considered a moderate stream. My video music can be used freely. But don't pair this dance video with that grin. You looked at the other person's stunning figure and replied harshly. On the other side, Audrey Kat Zhao Rua was. She was somewhat angry upon seeing this message. She really liked this song. And she had already thought about what dance to pair with it. But now she said such things to Yun. Today, Zhao Ruashi sent you her original draft of the dance she originally planned to try. Meanwhile, on the other side, you opened the video message that Audrey sent over. Watching the video, your face was filled with black lines. The song is a good one. The figure is also great. But why does it always feel a bit off? You hesitated, thinking for a long time. In the end, you only replied with 3 words. It's pretty good. Zhao Ruashi's eyes widened in surprise. But before she had time to type, she saw you had already gone offline. At this moment, Zhao Ruashi was both angry and amused. This is the first time someone has rejected my request since I posted my first borderline video. It's the first time someone has turned me down. That's good. A man. You've successfully caught my attention. Zhao Ruashi squinted at your profile page. As her peripheral vision caught sight of your 210,000 followers. Suddenly, a bold idea popped into her mind. If she worked hard to post borderline dance videos, by the end of the year, she might very well stand with Yun on the annual Blogger Awards stage. On the other side, Gu Qinghan had just arrived at the company, and received a message from Hua Jie. Qinghan, Master Guyun has sent over the sheet music and lyrics, and has also specified the instruments needed for each part. Immediately after, Hua Jie voiced her opinion. Master Sunyun must be limited by energy or space, which is why they used a guitar in the video. Gu Qingchan looked at the sheet music and Hua Jie's analysis. For some reason, you popped into my mind. Someone who shares my love for music and understands that I'm not the only one struggling. He can only hold a guitar. I thought of you, my cheap husband. I can also help her feed the cat. Gu Qingchuan's resentment faded a bit. Meanwhile, you were at home feeling bored, chatting with Xiao Hai. Seeing his good brother still fawning over this person in Yun. He even has to invite Yun to get a hair wash. Watching Xiao Hai get more and more outrageous in his words. You finally laid your cards on the table. You opened your profile, took a screenshot, and sent it to Xiao Hai. Xiao Hai instantly lost his composure when he saw the message. Alright. You're here to play the fool, aren't you? We're no longer friends. You pretended to be aggrieved as you sent the message. You didn't even ask me. Xiao Hai looked at his phone, his expression shifting unpredictably. In the end, he decided to cling to the strong support in advance. Gloomy Cloud is great. Let's have a bro moment. I'll take you to get a hair wash, big or small, doesn't matter. Not going. I'm not interested in this. You skillfully declined this kind of solo meetup. But Xiao Hai was determined to get you out. Brother Yun. I'm not a fencing fanatic looking to spar with you. Besides, you did trick me, right? In the end, you agreed to meet Xiao Hai the day after tomorrow. The main thing is that Xiao Hai has a good personality. Unlike Gu Qingchun, who always has a stern face. Noon. The equipment you bought online has also arrived. To quickly establish yourself in this world, you are preparing to record a song called Blue and White Porcelain this time. However, you just finished writing the score. Xiao Hai started frantically calling for Zhu. Brother Yun, come out for a bit. I'll come pick you up. You're completely confused. But you can tell the other person sounds urgent. So you sent the location of a nearby cafe. Arriving at the agreed place, both were very surprised after confirming each other's identities. You know Xiao Hai's family might have a bit of money, but I didn't expect he was already rich enough to buy the new Fast and Furious. Xiao Hai is also stunned now. This is as amazing as what Yungu wrote, forget it. And that guy is so handsome too. It's simply comparable to what the audience has. Coming back to my senses, Xiao Hai generously stepped forward and reached out his hand to you. Brother Yun, finally got to see you. You are much more handsome in person than I imagined. You awkwardly reached out your hand and shook with him. I'm also very happy to meet you. Right after that, Xiao Hai took you to the reserved seaside restaurant. When you both were seated, the waiter had already brought 5 or 6 dishes. These are all the specialties of this restaurant. If you don't think they're tasty, you can change them. You looked at the delicious food on the table and nodded. You started chatting and eating. As the two of you were halfway through the meal, a beautiful figure suddenly sat down next to Xiao Hai. Bro, what are you two doing here? The woman speaking looked at Xiao Hai with a smile, then turned to look at you. After seeing your simple outfit, her smile faded. It's a pity it's a bit too deliberate. Otherwise, having a romance with such a handsome guy would be sweet. At this moment, Xiao Hai took the initiative to introduce. Brother Yun. This is my cousin, Zhou Yanqi. Zhou Maki smiled slightly. Habitually thought you were also a small singer on VA station. You must be the big star my brother often mentions. You politely nodded in acknowledgement. But you felt a bit frustrated inside. You thought it would just be a meal with Xiao Hai. You didn't expect a cousin to show up halfway. You really didn't want to engage in this pointless socializing. At that moment, Zhou Yanqi handed you a drink. Her two eyes were restlessly watching you. Crazy hints and flirtations. Although you couldn't date. But it's still nice to tease a handsome guy. Zhou Yanqi comes from a wealthy family and has a look that can be both sweet and regal. Thought that it would be easy to handle someone like you. Control a poor guy like you. Thank you. I don't drink soda. You simply rejected the other party directly. Zhou Yuanqi has been rejected for the first time. The time still feels a bit hard to believe. Xiao Hai was equally stunned. My little sister is practically a mermaid. He originally wanted to remind you not to fall into a trap. At this moment, looking at his little sister's defeated expression, Xiao Hai showed an enlightened expression again. This is what it means to have no women in your heart. Writing songs comes naturally. At the same time, he didn't forget the purpose of inviting you out. Waved his hand to dismiss his cousin. Alright, you go ahead and be busy. I have something to discuss with Brother Yun. Zhou Ma Qi Xing felt reluctant, but could only sulk back to her own table. Seeing this, you also breathed a sigh of relief. Continued to answer various questions raised by Xiao Hai. While chatting, Xiao Hai suddenly put on a mask of pain. After saying hello, I hurriedly ran to the restroom. Seeing you alone. Zhou Yanqi at another table immediately seized the opportunity. I saw her open the most popular video on the VA site. She walked over and sat next to you. Since small talk wasn't working, let's go with what you like instead. You were looking down at your phone. When you heard music from a phone next to you, you were slightly taken aback. You turned your head and met Zhou Yanqi's enchanting eyes. I heard from my brother. Your musical talent is great. Can we listen to this song? Saying this, Zhou Yanqi brought her phone close to your ear. It was right at that moment. A tall, poised woman walked into the restaurant. Even though she was wearing sunglasses and a baseball cap, she still attracted everyone's attention in the restaurant. The newcomer was none other than your wife, Gu Qingchen. Hua Jia was also with her. It's because a singer's recording venue is nearby. That's why Hua Jia brought Gu Qinghan here. The crowd gathered after Gu Qingchen was seated. Hua Jia looked around warily. I just happened to see you in an ambiguous situation with Zhou Maki. Hua Jia rubbed her eyes in disbelief. Then she squinted and took a closer look. It really was Xiao Yunran. What's wrong, Sister Hua? Just as Gu Qinghan was about to order, she noticed Hua Jia hadn't said anything for a while. Get down quickly. Your man. Hua Jia came to herself and whispered. Upon hearing that, Gu Qinghan followed Sister Hua's gaze. She was previously indecisive about what to eat, but suddenly she was flustered. He's a Saising fan. How did he come to this restaurant? He definitely looks so cheap. I don't know. It seems there's also a girl helping him hold the phone to listen to the call. Girl. Gu Qingchen frowned slightly. At the same time, she took out her phone and snapped a picture of you. Damn it. This guy is actually eating from both the pot and the bowl. Staring at the seat. Report any movements to me. Gu Qinghan, with a cold face, started to order dishes. However, her ears were not idle at all. On the other side, you were still completely unaware. Only focused on listening to the song seriously. After listening, she casually made a comment. Zhou Waki knew nothing about music. To capture this stubborn little donkey, she still forced herself to act surprised like a child. Brother Yun, your insights on music are really impressive. At that moment, Gu Qinghan was eating dark chocolate truffles. After admiring, she glanced at you with peripheral vision. Are there really women who would do this for an obsessive fan? Hua Jia also saw Machi's full appearance at this moment. She turned her head towards Gu Qinghan and said, This girl is a regular customer of the restaurant. She even asked you for an autograph here before. It seems her background is quite good too. Gu Qinghan became unsettled upon hearing this. She originally thought you came here to save face. But now seeing this girl's passive demeanor, she became even more convinced of her idea that you are a freeloader. For some reason, Gu Qinghan suddenly felt mixed emotions. She took a deep breath and said, Don't come here anymore. This restaurant is quite bad. Meanwhile, you were trying hard to brush off Zhou Yanqi, thinking about finishing recording Blue and White Porcelain before your new wife returns this afternoon. You wanted to get the song done. Zhou Maki also felt your perfunctory attitude. She was so angry she didn't know what to say. Hua Jia, who was secretly observing, noticed this scene. Qing Han, is he usually this much of a straight man? It seems so. Gu Qingchun nodded awkwardly, filled with doubt inside. Normally, everyone should be charmed by a woman like her. Someone like Jian Kong, who hasn't seen much of the world, would surely agree immediately. Could it be that he is deliberately letting go of his desire? Finally, Xiao Hai returned to the VIP room after using the restroom. Knowing this, Zhou Yanqi realized she had no chance left. But before leaving, she stubbornly left her business card. You mustered up your courage. You took the business card under Zhou Yanqi's beautiful gaze. On the other side, Sister Hua witnessed the whole thing. Qing Han, it seems like you have a rival in love. Sister Hua, you don't think I've fallen for him, do you? Gu Qingchun angrily explained. Then she took a big bite of the strawberry chocolate ice cream. Hua Jia nodded thoughtfully, but she felt that something was off. As the meals at the two tables approached their end, a woman's graceful figure appeared at the restaurant entrance. She was also fully equipped with sunglasses and a hat. Like smoke. Let's go with this place. There aren't any good restaurants nearby anyway. Lu Yi quietly spoke beside Lu Ruoyan. You were deeply engrossed in discussing music with Xiao Hai. You didn't even notice Lu Ruoyan sitting at a table right behind you. Gu Qinghan furrowed her brows upon seeing this. First, her newlywed husband was here flirting with someone. Now she ran into her mortal enemy. What bad luck. Meanwhile, Lu Yi analyzed the situation. Ruoyan, don't worry. Once tonight's program airs, the online defense team will start promoting that the song was plagiarized. As long as there's evidence indicating it was copied from Yun. Then if Yi Qinghan sings this song again, we will have one. Lu Ruoyan nodded in agreement upon hearing this. Even if she can't have it, she'll ruin it. This is the basic principle of the entertainment industry. But she often feels that this Gu Yun speaks very much like someone. Yet she can't remember who it is. Over here, Hua Jia is also brainstorming for Gu Qinghan, considering that there is currently some controversy. After discussing it, the two decided to reserve this song for the finals. By then, who knows, they might have cleared their names with Cloud God. Gu Qingchuan's admiration for Gu Yun has now reached a new level. She has already started looking forward to the new song this afternoon. Hua Jia nodded. If we can make it to the finals this afternoon, then let's go find a nightclub to celebrate. Yi Qinghan was about to rebut. But then she remembered you were flirting with someone earlier. She felt angry inside. Sure, I'll cover the bill then. After saying that, she elegantly reclined in the armchair. But her gaze secretly glanced in a certain direction. Xiao Hai, I'll head back first. I still need to save time to record a new song. After saying this, you stood up and prepared to walk out. My sister's business card. Aren't you going to take it? Xiao Hai stood up and shook the business card in his hand, saying. You sighed helplessly. Stop fooling around. Right now, I just want to save money. Xiao Hai smiled slightly. He started to apologize for his sister. Sorry about that. I haven't told my sister your VA site account yet. It's a trivial matter. It's better to know less about this identity. Qing Chun. Hearing, Pai. He also has an account on the VA site. Of course, I know that. He was also there that day. Gu Qinghan said impatiently. She just glanced at the missing business card on the table. She thought it must have been treated as a treasure by you. Qing Chun. He's gone. Hua Jia faithfully reported. Got it. He left, so what? What do you have to report to me? Hua Jia had lines of annoyance on her forehead. She muttered softly, wasn't it you who asked me to report? I don't have any. Gu Qingchuan's icy gaze fixed on you. It seemed like she was going to see you off out of the restaurant. At that moment, Lu Ruoyan was momentarily stunned when she saw your figure. I need to have a good talk with him in person. Lu Ru. KX find a time to invite him out. I want to have a good talk with him in person. Lu Yijin nodded slightly. She also thought you wanted to be involved with Lu Ruoyan. That's why it's a bit sparse near the event site. When you returned home, it was already 3 in the afternoon. After quickly setting up the equipment, you put on the same top as in the previous video. Then I started to sing quietly. The wheat sprout outlines the longevity flower. The brushstroke transitions from strong to light. The peony depicted on the body of the bottle. Just like your first makeup. Your voice is a bit deep. It doesn't completely match the original lyrics. But it can still outshine the current contestants. After finishing the third performance again, it was already 5 p.m. You edited it a bit and uploaded it to VA. The title is also very simple. The sky blue waits for the rain. And I'm waiting for you. After the release, you messaged Gu Qingchun. What kind of noodles do you want to eat tonight? I'll make it for you. On the other side, Gu Qinghan, who was rehearsing, received the message. Her beautiful eyes showed a mix of anger and amusement. Alright. Flirting with someone else in a restaurant where everyone spent 5,000 at noon. Asking me what noodles I want for dinner. Chinka, amused and annoyed, did not reply to the message. Seeing that the other party didn't reply. Naturally, you wouldn't just wait by the phone. You turned around and got busy with your own things. Inside a high-end community in Linshan City, Yu and Yun Dada released new work again. Ruo she looked at her phone, filled with excitement. Opening the video, it was still that familiar short sleeve and guitar. However, the background has changed to a different room. Your beauty drifts away like a wisp. To places I cannot reach. A song that lasts 3 minutes and 58 seconds. The white walls and fresh artistic vibe. A boy holding a simple guqin. It's simply a dual feast for the eyes and ears. Master Gloomy Cloud. Impressive. After Zhao Ruoxu's performance, she opens the comments below. Such a beautiful song. Why is it so short? If a foreigner saw this, they might think I look down on it. I agree with what the person above said. Both of them are quite short, times Flower Melon. Who is the singer at the rehearsal site? Lu Ruoyan relies on her stunning voice. And her extraordinary stage performance. She secured the first place. Gu Qinhan barely made it to the next level. Yi Qingchun just qualified successfully. However, her expression wasn't particularly flustered. She believes she can turn the tables with that song in the finals. Now we have to see the song Master Gloomy Cloud will release today. Can I prove my innocence? Otherwise, singing this song in such a plagiaristic environment. It's easy to ruin one's career. Thinking this way, Gu Qingchun nervously opened her phone. At the same time, she saw VA Station on the homepage. The glaring title. Gu Qinghan's beautiful eyes were filled with confusion. Last night, Master Gu Yun was still very aloof and unromantic. Why has he suddenly become so artsy today? If it weren't for the name Gu Yun displayed under the title, Gu Qinghan might really think it was some greasy young man. However, this also sparked Yi Qinghan's curiosity. She quickly put on her Bluetooth headphones. She closed her eyes and quietly listened. It's also a divine being. The voice that spoke was gentle and magnetic. The background was still that white wall. However, the color looked somewhat familiar. Gu Qinghan earnestly appreciated the charm of this song. Gone is the previous cold demeanor. Such beautiful lyrics. It's just that this instrument lacks expression. Gu Qinghan let out a slight sigh. At the same time, she could basically confirm in her heart. The great musician Lonely Cloud is just a passerby lyricist and composer. Thinking of this, Xiang Qinghan made a decision in her heart. He Yun must be signed under her label. Even if she can't sign him, she cannot be antagonistic. Such a lyricist will surely leave a seat for himself in the future Mandarin music scene. Hua Jie. Hurry and respond to He Yun using the official account of Huaxing Entertainment. Arrange to meet him. Tonight. Gu Qinghan nervously said to Hua Jie. On the other side, you think about how a month later, you might end up living in a rented apartment. You still feel that making money with music is too slow. After some contemplation, you decided to write those popular novels from your past life as well. Once you made up your mind, you logged onto the VA site. You saw a private message inviting you to a party from Huaxing Entertainment. The private message from Huaxing Entertainment is very sincere. Not only did they bring up their boss Gu Qingga, but they also covered all the expenses. You really are a bit tempted. However, you are currently very disgusted with the entertainment industry. This is mainly due to your ex-girlfriend. It's been a while. If there's something, I'll invite you again the next day. Gu Qingchun stared blankly at He Yun's reply. Who would have thought that the entertainment industry, a day later, would personally invite a passerby lyricist? And he was tactfully turned down despite knowing she would be at the gathering. Qinghan, don't be angry. Gu Yun might really have something going on. Hua Jie quietly comforted from the side. But it seemed very powerless and pale. No way. I must get a response from him today. He actually rejected me. May I ask? Is He Yun busy with something? You are exceptionally surprised to see this message. You initially thought a single sentence would kill the conversation. But I didn't expect the other party to respond back. Sorry. I don't like socializing and I don't like drinking. Oh, Qingchun laughed in anger. A 20-year-old man actually doesn't know how to drink. Do you really have to lie like this? Drinking can refresh your mind. And it can help you get rid of worries. Why not drink? Smiles. Drinking can cause problems. Besides, drinking this late, it could very likely worry your family. You randomly made up a reason. Oh, Qingchun stared at the line of text in front of him. His originally vibrant expression turned into silence. At this moment, Hua Jie said, Qinghan, what should we do now? Should we continue to invite him or, world, not invite him anymore? Let's go. Tonight, it's on me. A fleeting expression of silence passed over Gu Qinghan's face. Gu Qinghan's quiet expression flashed by. And at the same time, she thought of her cheap husband. Proudly, she typed a line of text. I went to a nightclub to drink tonight. After finishing typing, Chin-han noticed the message you sent at 5 p.m. What kind of noodles do you want to eat? I'll make it for you. Seeing this, she quickly closed her phone. She looked just like an incompetent wife. On the other side, you sighed in relief upon seeing the message. You weren't hungry at the moment. Just right, you could create an account now to write a novel. However, when replying to the message, you typed, alright, I'll eat by myself later. The input method automatically suggested an emoji for you. It was a white bear lying on the table. In front of it were a green cup and a bun. However, you didn't notice. Chin-chun was momentarily stunned by the message. She associated your pitiful appearance with this emoji. But after Hua Jia saw it, she reminded her. Other boys' emojis were quite silly. This one is so cute, it must be used for attracting girls. A single sentence startled Gu Qinghui awake. You're right. Let's go drink. You've already registered an account over there. Getting ready to start a rapid surge in political literature. Don't get involved in face-slapping articles like those from the crooked-mouthed Dragon King. Mainly considering the subsequent adaptation into a TV series. One fish, multiple meals, eat and eat again. No one in this world can bully you. You are my woman. I will definitely be responsible for you. The first 6,000 words were written quickly. You can already find an editor to revise it. As for who this lucky editor is, it all depends on who is closest to your mouse. Gu Yun has made such a big scene. Aren't you going to speak up? Zhao Ruoshi continues to harass you as always. But this time she brought something laughably ridiculous. I don't know which company hired the trolls. 10 minutes after the show starts tonight, they collectively slandered MO on platforms like VA and various forums. You look at the message, very confused. What's wrong? Didn't Gu Chinga sing the song of betrayal? No. Or Chinga didn't sing this song at all tonight. Zhao Ruoshi finally couldn't hold it in any longer. She laughed out loud while holding her phone. However, you weren't that surprised. You just said lightly, this is the true entertainment industry. Zhao Ruoshi originally wanted to laugh. But after hearing your words, she regretted it a bit. She was shocked that Mrs. Yun could see so far ahead. If it were her encountering this outrageous traffic, she would definitely be cursing at those trolls and haters. After all, being black and red is still a kind of fame. She has really gained the favor of a certain pigeon from VA station. Meanwhile, at the entrance of the goddess bar, Hua Jia was helping the slightly tipsy Gu Qinghan walk. Where do you want to go back to now? Back to your own place or back to my place? Of course, it's back to my place. I still need to go find my lucky charm. Gu Qinghan was repeatedly stroking her bag. Obviously, this is treated as a depiction. Little ancestor. Before that, you should call your husband first. Okay. Gu Qingchun was browsing through her phone at this moment, continuously whispering, husband, husband. It sounded like she was being coy yet was also very confused and anxious. Can't find him. Where has my husband gone? Oh, Qinghan suddenly became teary-eyed. I can't even find my husband. Hua Jia snatched the phone and kept searching. Then she pointed at a contact labeled as Saseing Fan. The account of a rogue offender, she said. Did you see that? This person is your husband. Hee hee. This is my husband. Qingchun took back her phone and stared at the profile picture, grinning foolishly. There's no saving her now. Hua Jia sighed. At that time, she saw Qinghan fiddling with her phone again. What are you doing? I don't know who actually changed my husband's contact name to something so unpleasant. I changed his contact name. Gu Qinghan said this while shaking the phone. Hua Jia focused her gaze carefully. My dear husband. And also sent a voice message. Husband. When are you coming to pick me up? Her voice carried a sob and a hint of a pleading silly laugh. Completed. Hua Jia looked at Gu Qinghan with disappointment, as if accusing her of not living up to expectations. Look at the good job you've done. Then she fumbled to start a video call. What's wrong? Did you get drunk and need me to pick you up? Yes. Qinghan is drunk. I need to trouble you to take care of her tonight. Okay, then I'll get ready. Hua Jia sighed in relief after hearing that. Then she gave Gu Qingchun a deep look. But Gu Qinghan snatched the phone excitedly and said, Husband. I want to eat. However, she hadn't finished her sentence when the call disconnected. Listening to the busy tone on the phone, Gu Qingchun looked utterly confused and helpless. It's over. Hua Jia held her head in despair. Why did you hang up, of all times? Just when this happened, the camera clicked. My husband hung up on me. Qinghan's crying echoed in the parking lot. Just as she squatted on the ground, crying uncontrollably. The phone surprisingly rang again. Gu Qinghan quickly answered the call. What did you want to eat just now? I want to eat the noodles you make. Alright. Wipe your tears. I'll make you some noodles with crayfish right now. Okay. You have to keep your promise even if it's said in anger. After hanging up the phone, Gu Qingchun happily urged Hua Jia. Hurry home. Otherwise, my husband's noodles will get cold. Hua Jie frowned at the situation, but still helped Gu Qingchun into the car, and when Gu Qinghan returned, she stared blankly at you in the kitchen, not knowing what she suddenly thought of. Her originally cute expression turned cold. She pointed at the sofa with her left hand and said, "You go sit on the sofa first." You looked at Hua Jie with some confusion and asked, "What's going on?" Hua Jie also looked helpless. "Who knows? Who knows? But you'd better do as she says." You glanced at Gu Qinghan's almond-shaped eyes. It's hard to tell if there's anger or jealousy inside. You had no choice but to sit down awkwardly. Gu Qinghan complimented you with satisfaction upon seeing this. "Good. This is my good husband. What the hell is this?" You turned to Hua Jie with a helpless look, with an expression that urged her to come up with a solution quickly. However, in the next second, Gu Qinghan walked over to you in a very ungraceful manner. Then, without saying a word, she began to search your clothing pocket from above. This scene left Hua Jie dumbfounded, but perhaps the after effects kicked in. She surprisingly just took out her phone and started recording. With a terrified expression, you began to stop Gu Qinghan. "Today, I would rather die than give in." And after Gu Qinghan found nothing in your jacket pocket, the gaze gradually shifted downwards, finally landing on the pocket of the pants, then started rummaging through your upper pocket. However, finding nothing, she was soon afraid to shift her gaze downwards. This made the injury of a normal man instantly infuriated. "Stop, stop, stop. What exactly are you looking for? I'll take it out for you myself." "Okay, push it to me." At this moment, Gu Qingchun seemed like a lost child, even with tears filling her eyes, but she stubbornly wanted you to pull it out and take a look. You had a look of helplessness on your face. Silently, you took out your phone and a business card from your pocket. "These are the only things left. If I continue, there'll be nothing left. It's that business card." Yi Qinghan quickly snatched the business card away. Then she got off you and sat back down on the sofa. She began tearing the business card with her hands. Hua Jie and you exchanged glances. Then, with wide eyes, they cautiously looked at the business card. This was the one she tossed to you during your blind date with Gu Qingchun the day before yesterday. "Go find another woman." Gu Qingchun was tearing at it while still constantly clearing his throat. However, because the nails and business cards were made of gel, annoyed, Gu Qingchun began to bite it with her teeth. Finally, after Gu Qinghan finished biting, she turned back and calmly said to you, "Husband, I'm hungry now. I want to eat the noodles you made. And I need your phone too." Seeing that this little girl finally stopped being difficult, you hurriedly complied. Then you sat back down next to Gu Qingchun, just in case she did something unexpected again. However, Gu Qinghan directly opened WeChat. "Is she going to check on me?" You were somewhat surprised. Although you didn't have any phishing spots in your WeChat, the most important thing is that you and she have no emotional foundation. However, something even stranger happened. You saw that after Gu Qingchun checked around and found nothing unusual, nodding in satisfaction immediately, opened the chat window with you to change the note. "Super invincible good wife." After changing it, specifically reminded, "Don't change it for me. If I were to see it, you're dead meat." Okay. You helplessly nodded, then pushed the noodles in front of Yi Qinghan. "It's delicious. What my husband makes is the best." Gu Qingchun enjoyed the lobster and noodles very much. You chuckled and nodded, but deep down, there was a different feeling, as if she really is your wife. Seeing you looking lost, Gu Qingchun tilted her head in confusion and asked, "What's wrong? Are you hungry too?" Saying this, she pushed her plate in front of you. "Husband, you eat. There are also some little lobsters I couldn't bear to eat." Listening to Gu Qingchun's sudden concern, you couldn't help but put on a forced smile and said, "No, thank you. You eat, I'm not hungry." And when Hua Jie, who was quietly eating noodles, heard this, she first shot a frustrated look at Gu Qinghan and scolded, "You little ancestor. What will you do when you're sober tomorrow?" Then she turned to you and said, "I'll stay here tonight." To prevent her from doing something strange again. "So, Mr. Shao, please understand. It's okay." You revealed a smile of someone who had just survived a disaster. Who would have thought that such an incredibly beautiful woman would be so terrifying after drinking? And after finishing her meal, Gu Qinghan had already reached her limit for alcohol. Even if she were to cling to you to sleep together, she could only show a satisfied smile. Hugging Hua Jie's arm, she drifted off to sleep. She kept muttering the words, "hubby," in her sleep. Meanwhile, you returned to your room early. After writing a few more chapters of your frenzy, you went to sleep. In the early hours of the morning, Gu Qinghan woke up thirsty. "Where am I?" Looking around, she realized that although her clothes were messy, she was sleeping in her own room with Hua Jie. Instantly, she felt relieved. However, Hua Jie was still sound asleep. "Sister Hua, where's the water?" At this moment, Gu Qinghan was so thirsty her throat felt on fire. But since Hua Jie was lying on part of her leg, she had no choice but to call out to Hua Jie. Your husband prepared some water for you. It's on the bedside table. Before she could finish, Hua Jie had already fallen back asleep. Husband. Gu Qinghan muttered strangely in response. Then she looked at the bedside table. Sure enough, there was a cup of water. She picked up the still slightly warm water and drank it all. Instantly, she felt rejuvenated. But just after she finished drinking, she felt a wave of urgency to urinate. After quickly resolving it, Gu Qinghan checked herself again. And after realizing she felt nothing unusual, she did not go directly back to her room, but rather took off her slippers and opened your door, because she couldn't find her makeup. And upon entering, she found there was no strange smell in your room. While Fubao was sound asleep on your bed, Gu Qinghan carefully picked up Fubao, as her bare feet made very little noise, so she wasn't worried you would suddenly wake up. Out of curiosity, she began to survey your room. However, to her surprise, your love for music was far from trivial. You had expensive recording equipment and microphones. Yet that cheap guitar seemed oddly out of place. Forget it. I should just go back first. If Hua Jia wakes up later, that wouldn't be good. The next day, Hua Jia left early because she had other matters to attend to. She left quite early. However, Gu Qinghan slept in until 9:30. At this time, you had just completed the online contract with the editor of Show. Then I saw Gu Qinghan coming out of the room. You pointed at the hot milk on the table and said, "You got drunk last night. Drinking a cup of milk in the morning is good for your stomach." Gu Qinghan didn't refuse. Quietly, we started having breakfast together. But when she opened her phone and saw your note, suddenly, her face became round with big eyes. She looked at the words "my good husband" in disbelief. Not only that, there was also a strange voice message. Qinghan trembled as she tapped to convert the voice message to text. "Husband, when will you come to pick me up?" Upon seeing this message, Qinghan felt dizzy all of a sudden. Undeterred, she turned the phone volume down again, and then tapped to play the voice message. "Husband, I want to eat." Hearing herself sounding cute and coy, at the sound that couldn't be squeezed any tighter, Gu Qinghan's anxious heart finally settled down. Just then, she caught a glimpse of you listening intently. There was a noticeable pause when you referred to her as husband. She quickly turned off the voice message. "Oh right. About what happened last night, do you know?" At this moment, you suddenly looked at her with great interest and said. Gu Qingchun felt nervous in the midst of the conversation, but on the surface, she still seemed very aloof. After finishing what she wanted to say, "If you dare to say even a little less, you're doomed." Just like that, you poured out everything that happened last night. Although Gu Qingchun maintained her usual expression while you spoke, she could even relax enough to eat her fried egg. But her tiny, delicate feet were already dragging out about 2,000 square meters of space. "Alright, that's about it." You took a sip of tea, and continued to eat your breakfast. "Is that all?" Gu Qingchun secretly breathed a sigh of relief. If these words were spoken by Hua Jie, she would probably be blushing uncontrollably, while trying to call you. "It seems like you had something going on with Hua Jie. You can go ask her." Your casual remark feels like a heavy burden on Gu Qinghan. At this moment, just thinking about it makes her overwhelmed. Not to mention asking Hua Jie about it. Gu Qinghan quietly finished her meal. Because the finals for Who is the Singer are 3 days away, so she decided to practice at home for 2.5 days. "Alright, I'll head upstairs first." Qingchun stood up and said. "You handled a whole lot. And just as you were about to go back to your room, your phone rang." "Mom, what is it?" "Huh? You guys are coming today?" Hearing your words, Gu Qinghan paused in her steps as she went upstairs. At that moment, she understood what it meant. It seems like she is about to meet the in-laws. Gu Qinghan originally thought it was just a joke, but when the time came, she inexplicably started to feel a bit panicked inside. But soon she cheered herself up. "It's just a sham marriage, so why am I panicking? As long as I perform well, that's all that matters." "Miss Gu, my parents are coming." You candidly reported this fact. "Oh, then why aren't you nervous at all?" Gu Qinghan, seeing your calm demeanor, was quite annoyed. "As if you don't care about this at all. So should I act like a couple with you?" You shrugged and said. Qinghan stood there in a daze. She began to mutter to herself. "What does a couple look like?" You heard this and thought carefully. Then you steeled yourself and said to Gu Qinghan, "Sleep in the same bed, cook together, and it can't seem awkward." As soon as the words left your mouth, Gu Qinghan was completely taken aback. "No way. Aside from sleeping in the same bed, any other way is fine." Looking at the flustered and helpless Gu Qinghan, you said with a mix of laughter and tears, "You've misunderstood. Actually, all you need to do is put an extra pillow on your bed." Upon hearing this, Gu Qinghan's expression relaxed slightly. She nodded in agreement with your solution. Just put your pillow on my bed. Just like that. After your first serious discussion, the outline of a superficial marriage had already formed. Moreover, Gu Qinghan, to show enough sincerity, even enthusiastically went to buy some gold and supplements. In the afternoon, you and Gu Qinghan met your parents in the parking lot. She is. As soon as your words came out, a soft arm slipped around your arm. At the same time, you also felt like you were hit by a ball. But when you turned your head, all you saw was Gu Qinghan's eyes curving into a lovely arc. Hi, Mom and Dad. I am the wife of Xiao Yunran. Gu Qinghan. Goodness. Is it necessary to act so sincerely? You were so moved inside that you didn't dare to move too much. You then stiffly smiled and looked at your father. Your dad, Xiao Yan, was walking towards you, but he gasped as soon as he saw Yi Qingchun. This well-built girl is Zhu's daughter-in-law. You took Gu Qingchun over and introduced her. Dad. This is Qingchun. Yi Qinghan immediately took off her mask at this moment. She greeted him with a smile. Seeing his daughter-in-law's stunning face, your dad almost popped his eyes out. He knew his son's taste was not bad. After all, the last one named Lu Ruoyan was already beautiful enough. But compared to this girl in front of him, she was still a notch below. She was also particularly adorable. Just looking at her, she seemed very gentle. However, she looks a bit familiar. Mian noticed your dad was still in a daze. You quickly reminded him. Qingchun is greeting you. Only then did your dad snap back to reality. He replied with a smile. I'm really sorry about that. Your mom was also genuinely happy for you. Look at you. Our son really has good taste. He found such a beautiful daughter-in-law. Mom. It's because Yunran and I are a perfect match. Gu Qinghui smiled and picked up the conversation. Then she took out a gold bracelet that weighed a pound or so. Thoughtfully, she put it on your mom's wrist. Your mom really couldn't refuse. She could only squint and smile. Look at you, my child. You've spent so much. Mom. This is just a token of my regard. From now on, I'll take care of my husband and you as well. Just treat me as his daughter. After exchanging a few more pleasantries, Yi Qingchun led everyone back. I have to say, your parents are really nice. Not only did she not exhibit any inappropriate behavior, she even took the initiative to chat about light topics throughout the process. This made Gu Qingchun feel an inexplicable warmth at that moment. As for acting, she also gradually got into the groove. Just after returning home, she transformed from her usual aloof top female star persona into a sweet girlfriend, snuggling up to you in your arms. She even squeezed into the kitchen with you to showcase your affection in front of your parents. Despite feeling a bit overwhelmed, you sensed you were about to lose control. After a strong round of persuasion, only then did she carry the fruit to the living room to chat with your parents. Qinghan, there's no need to be so troublesome. We just came to take a look. We'll leave soon. Your dad cheerfully accepted the fruit. Meanwhile, your mom started to chat casually with Gu Qinghan. Yunran is a bit introverted. He doesn't like to talk too much. Gu Qinghan showed a faint smile. Then, he glanced at you busy in the kitchen and nodded. He really isn't much of a talker. He has quite a few of these little quirks. If you're being bullied, just tell me. Your dad joked about getting closer to Gu Qinghan. And Yi Qinghan also enjoyed this family atmosphere very much. She kept nodding and smiling in agreement. But when your parents said they wanted to invite Gu Qinghan's parents for dinner, Gu Qinghan's expression suddenly flashed with a hint of awkwardness. Her parents have been separated for a long time. They generally don't come back unless it's a family gathering. But after all, she is a top female star. Her expression management was really on point. Once she processed it, she immediately smiled back apologetically. Mom. My parents are busier with work than I am. You're busy making money too. Once some time passes and everyone is free, I'll invite them over to have a meal together again. Meanwhile, you, who had finished your tasks, also cooperated timely and said, Mom and Dad, I will follow up on this matter. Just wait for my notification. Your parents are quite open-minded as well. They all said there's no problem. This meal was not affected by the earlier little incident. Just as Yi Qinghan was bowing her head to gnaw on the ribs, your mom suddenly asked you tentatively, by the way, how many kids do you two plan to have? Have how many of what? And seeing that Gu Qinghan was about to get exposed, you quickly spoke up and said, Mom and Dad, we just got married. Naturally, we need to enjoy some alone time first. Besides, Qinghan and I are currently in a rising phase of our careers. Gu Qinghan also reacted to this. She then immediately smiled and nodded in agreement. However, the hand wrapped around your arm was secretly exerting force. A parasitic fan living off someone else's success. Still in a career rising phase. But when Gu Qinghan's peripheral vision caught sight of your ear, her heart felt a bit strange. What does it mean when your ears are red? Could it be that he has really thought about this? We actually enjoyed this meal quite a bit. After your parents left in the afternoon, Gu Qinghan sat absent-mindedly in the living room, watching anime with a distracted mind. And you felt good because you successfully fooled your parents. And your mood surprisingly improved. After mopping the floor, you smiled and encouraged Gu Qinghan's acting. You acted pretty convincingly this time. Even my dad didn't notice anything. After you finished speaking, she turned and went back to her room. A strange feeling rose within Gu Qinghan, as if she was still immersed in the storyline from filming before. She was still unable to extricate herself from the plot. But her co-star had already started asking her for a red envelope for the celebration party. Just as you entered the room, you received a message from Lu Ruoyan. I know you still love me, but we can't go back to how we were. Let's meet at the cafe the day after tomorrow to talk it over. I still love her. How could I not know? You almost laughed out loud while looking at your phone. However, in order to completely cut ties, you still made a reply saying you would arrive on time. The message had just been sent. But suddenly, you heard Gu Qinghan's cry from the living room, accompanied by a thud. It seemed like she had fallen to the ground. Sure enough, as soon as you opened the door, you saw your beautiful and aloof wife lying on the ground, lamenting. Gu Qinghan saw you come out. I looked at you, with tears in your eyes, still holding a hint of anger. It's all your fault. Why did you clean the floor so well? As if the shine wasn't enough, it actually became slippery. You awkwardly examined Gu Qinghan sitting on the floor, noticing her delicate little feet still on the floor. They moved unconsciously, along with the resentful little expression on her pretty face, as if you were truly the culprit. Is there any medicinal oil like red flower oil at home? I'll help you. Of course there is. There's a small first aid kit right there. Gu Qinghan gritted her teeth in pain and pointed to one side, saying. But when she saw you coming with the first aid kit, Gu Qinghan felt an overwhelming sense of panic inside. A man and a woman alone in a room. The other person was actually a Saising fan who stalked her. He wouldn't take advantage of this opportunity. Thinking of this, Gu Qinghan, in her anxiety, twitched her right foot. This only exacerbated her injury. In pain, she couldn't help but let out another groan. Seeing this, you hurriedly reached out to help her up. But just as your hand touched Gu Qinghan's arm, Gu Qinghan swiftly grabbed your wrist. Then she bared her teeth. She bit down hard on your arm. At the same time, she was cursing and complaining internally. It's all your fault. Now I've injured my foot. Maybe I won't even be able to participate in the finals of Who's the Singer. You felt a pain coming from your arm. You couldn't help but gasp. Is this woman a dog? Such strength. Even Fubao the cat was stunned. It stood frozen, watching its owners fight. However, Gu Qinghan seemed even more furious. Her teeth bit down with more force. Just as you couldn't help but push Gu Qinghan away, and happened to meet her reddened, glistening eyes. It was clear that she was about to cry. When she saw you looking at her with a playful expression, Gu Qinghan became even angrier. She was ready to bite down again with force. She came at you. You realized she was serious this time. You hurriedly pulled your hand back. Gu Qinghan originally didn't want to let go, but you caught a glimpse of the deep bite mark on your arm. Only then did you release your hand and whisper with tears in your eyes. Now you understand this pain of mine. Quickly carry me to the sofa. You shook your arm. You grimaced in pain. Your bite force can rival that of a foolish dog on the African plains. Gu Qinghan saw that you were still joking. She also knew you were telling her that you were fine. But she still turned her head in a haughty manner and scolded you. Clearly, it was you who made the floor so smooth. Otherwise, I wouldn't. Perhaps the anger subsided after venting. Gu Qinghan reluctantly extended her arm towards your mouth. Go ahead and bite. Although we are a sham couple, we still can't owe you anything. This is the first time you've observed her from such a distance. You can only say one word. Jade. Forget it. I'm not an abusive person. But this past month is something I won't forget for a long time. Gu Qinghan nodded with satisfaction upon hearing this. As the national goddess, she still has her charm. However, you continue to speak. I won't forget that a woman bit my arm. Gu Qinghan glared at you angrily. But for some reason, the atmosphere now felt much more cheerful than before. Soon, you helped Gu Qinghan onto the sofa. Then you took the balm and prepared to apply it. You held back. It might hurt a little. Gu Qinghan nodded silently. But when the cold sensation and the air you blew reached her feet, Gu Qinghan only felt an indescribable itch. At the same time, her expression was a mix of shyness and fear. And you felt the smoothness of the balm in your hand. A strange feeling was also surfacing in your heart. To avoid awkwardness, you hurriedly pretended to be calm and said, "You can apply the rest yourself. I'm going back to my room first." Gu Qinghan, who was initially a bit moved, felt this way after hearing you. She was both astonished and somewhat angry. It started but had no conclusion. Scumbag. Over here, you returned to your room. After calming down, you started typing. At the same time, Gu Qinghan received a call from Hua Jia at the same time. Qinghan, did you check the trending topics? No, I haven't. What's wrong? Gu Qinghan, who could only apply medicine herself at the moment, was in a bad mood. The thought of possibly being unable to participate in the finals the day after tomorrow made her anxious. She felt she needed to vent her frustration again to fully release her anger. And after learning about Gu Qinghan's foot injury, Hua Jia was silent for a moment before quickly comforting her. I'll come over right away to take you to the hospital for a checkup. Maybe after proper treatment, you can recover by the day after tomorrow. I hope so. While Gu Qinghan was speaking, her gaze was still fiercely fixed on your room door. You had been busy in your room all afternoon. Finally, I've written out over a dozen chapters. Just as you were satisfied and ready to rest. Hua Jia's voice came from the living room. What's going on? Who twisted your ankle? It was his doing. Gu Qinghan deliberately concealed the fact that she bit you and pointed at you, saying. Hua Jia immediately looked at you angrily upon hearing this. How did you twist her ankle? I mopped the floor too well. You told Hua Jia the truth honestly. At the same time, you didn't forget to show the bite marks on your arm to plead your case. This was done by your good best friend. After glancing at the bite marks, Hua Jia said. Impossible. She definitely. Anyway, she would never bite your arm. As she spoke, she glanced again at the sofa. Gu Qinghan, who was completely still on it. With a face that said, I don't believe it. I did indeed bite this. Hua Jia, I was too angry at that time. That's why. At this moment, Gu Qinghan lowered her head and voluntarily admitted it. Who would have thought the top female star in the entertainment industry would seem so career-driven and unmarried on the surface, yet secretly go crazy and bite men? What kind of goddess is this? It's the kind that would make fans unfollow her if they found out. But in the face of the situation, Hua Jia could only admit that her best friend can bite. However, when she accompanied Gu Qinghan into the room to change clothes, an out-of-place pillow caught her eye. At that moment, Hua Jia felt like the sky was falling. You slept with him. Seeing this, Gu Qinghan hurriedly began to explain. What are you thinking? This is just to deal with his parents. Gu Qinghan recounted the events in detail. After hearing this, Hua Jia also breathed a sigh of relief. You're going to scare me to death. Little ancestor. That said, a scene unconsciously appeared in Hua Jia's mind. The aloof top female star got into a fight with her Seising fan. As she thought and thought, Hua Jia couldn't help but show a look of amusement. Have you ever thought about it? Thought about what? Gu Qinghan is a good girl. Naturally, she didn't know what Hua Jia was talking about. What I mean is, after a while, you heard the sounds of two women playfully arguing. Just kidding. Hua Jia showed a knowing smile. My good husband. Gu Qinghan blushed and got angry upon hearing that title. Why didn't you stop me back then? How could I stop you? You insisted on calling me that yourself. Finally, Gu Qinghan changed her clothes. Hua Jia, to avoid causing further harm, went to the living room to call you in to help support Gu Qinghan. You reluctantly followed Hua Jia inside. Although Gu Qinghan wants to resist, she had to participate in the finals of Who is the Singer. Your jade-like hands could only tightly grip your large hand. During the process, because we were too close, you couldn't help but exclaim how pleasant it was. After a series of struggles, you finally helped Gu Qinghan into the car. This should be fine, right? Then I'll head back first. At that moment, Hua Jia suddenly interrupted you. You still have to help her into the hospital. I can't support her by myself. In the end, you sat in the back seat with Gu Qinghan, while Hua Jia drove in the front. To avoid any unnecessary misunderstandings, after getting in the car, you deliberately kept your distance from Gu Qinghan. Seeing you so wary as if she would bite you, she instantly became furious. Alright, sitting with me is so unfair for you, right? Arriving at the private hospital, Gu Qinghan wrapped herself tightly in advance. What is going on with you? How can you let your girlfriend stay here? The doctor immediately scolded you the moment they arrived, acting all self-righteous. She is not my girlfriend. You feel it's necessary to clarify in front of outsiders. However, to your surprise, Gu Qinghan spoke up before the doctor could. The doctor. I am his wife. You turned around and gazed deeply at Gu Qinghan. Gu Qinghan had a proud look on her face. It seemed she had gained some ground. The doctor looked at you disdainfully and said, the situation is not optimistic. However, fortunately, regarding medical treatment, just be diligent with the medicinal oil when you get back and massage it. You'll be fine in 2 or 3 days. You nodded repeatedly, silently accepting everything. Gu Qinghan saw you struggling. A barely noticeable smile appeared at the corner of her mouth. Speaking of which, aside from Dad, he is the first man to accompany me to the hospital. Let's go. I've already bought the medicine. You shook the medicine in front of Gu Qinghan. Oh, okay. Gu Qinghan hurriedly responded to the situation. Then, I silently lowered my head. Damn it. I actually zoned out just now. But just as you were helping the limping Gu Qinghan, Lu Ruoyan and her assistant Louis were nearby, looking shocked. They came to buy throat lozenges. It's only been 3 days since the breakup, and you've already found a new love. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, Lu Ruoyan wouldn't have believed it at all. Meanwhile, Louis squinted her eyes and came up with a plan. Ruoyan. It seems that breaking up with him back then was the right choice. You've seamlessly transitioned so quickly. They must have been flirting for a long time. At this moment, Lu Ruoyan's eyes were filled with tears. For whole years. Saying she had no feelings for you must be a lie. She just never expected you would find someone so fast. And Louis took the opportunity to snap a photo. It seems we can save 500,000 the day after tomorrow. Lu Ruoyan stared at the photo of you supporting Gu Qinghan. Suddenly, a strong pain in the heart surged. As soon as I got home, Hua Jie repeatedly reminded me before heading back to the company. And Gu Qinghan needed to rest in peace. So now she must rely on you for everything. Even for something as simple as wanting to drink water. Therefore, you sat on the sofa with a notebook, typing away. What are you doing? Gu Qinghan asked while eating the grapes you washed. I'm writing a novel. You replied without looking up. Seeing you so uninterested. Gu Qinghan pouted after that. She started playing Blue and White Porcelain and struck up a conversation with you. Have you heard this song? Of course, I have. The lyrics of this song are very carefully crafted. You spoke without your heart racing or face turning red. There was a hint of pride in the tone. As if those lyrics were written by you. However, at that moment, Gu Qinghan suddenly leaned in close to you. What's your VA station number? I can give you a follow. You immediately stopped. You turned your head to look at Gu Qinghan, who was blinking her eyes. Stay a bit further away from me first. I can hear what you're saying. Gu Qinghan pretended to look pitiful. No way. How can you do this? My foot is injured because of you. Helpless, you had to change the topic. What's your phone number? I'll save it. Gu Qinghan looked somewhat confused upon hearing this. Didn't I put it on the business card I gave you? I was originally going to save it. But the business card was torn. How dare you tear my business card? Gu Qinghan's eyes went wide in surprise. I didn't expect to be so disregarded by a Seising fan. It was after you got drunk last night. You took it from my pocket and tore it. After your reminder, Gu Qinghan suddenly remembered. She saw you receive another woman's business card yesterday. After getting drunk last night, she felt resentful. And that's how the scene of tearing the business card happened. Thinking of this, Gu Qinghan awkwardly stroked Fubao. But she quickly remembered that it was clearly you who had cheated. She just happened to catch you in the act. She gritted her teeth and said stubbornly, as long as you don't bring anyone home, I won't care about anything else. Hearing this, you felt a bit puzzled. But you still looked at Gu Qinghan seriously and assured her, don't worry. If there is someone I really like, I will wait until after the divorce to pursue them. As you spoke, you suddenly showed an excited expression. A month later, being both rich and single, just thinking about it is wonderful. But after hearing this, Gu Qinghan felt that something was off. She always felt like you couldn't wait to kick her out. And then go find someone younger. At this moment, a discordant ringtone broke the silence. You instinctively put the call on speaker. A sweet female voice echoed from the phone. A sweet female voice came from the phone. Is this Brother Yun? You quickly turned off the speakerphone. But such a sudden and sweet voice still made Gu Qinghan widen her beautiful eyes. Alright, alright, alright. Just said that she would only pursue true love after the divorce. And now, she's calling someone her brother, right? Seeing this, you hurried back to your room. Gu Qinghan was completely downcast now. She didn't expect that there was another woman who could be more lethal than her. What is she calling for at this time? You said with a face full of black lines. Brother Yun, when will we find a restaurant? Let's exchange some musical ideas. Ever since Zhou Yanqi was rejected by you last time, she always thought you were just pretending to be more polite on the surface. But I didn't receive any news from you for 2 whole days. This made her feel a surge of dissatisfaction in her heart. The fact that you called today suggests something fishy. But even if you were desperate, you wouldn't be interested in your brother's cousin. You should call me less in the future. As for discussing music and such, you should ask your brother. But what you didn't expect was, even though you said it so directly, Zhou Maji still insisted on chatting with you for half an hour. Finally, after you ignored her hints several times, Zhou Yanqi awkwardly said, then let's leave it at that. Next time, I'll come over to your house. After hanging up the phone, you took a deep breath. You opened the door, ready to go buy groceries. At this moment, Gu Qinghan had already calmed down. But her ears have been on alert since you walked in. It's already done. I'll step out for a moment. I told you before. You don't need to report to me when you go out. Gu Qinghan coldly said without turning her head, staring at the anime. You naturally know this is a sign of her being angry, but still wanted to tease a bit. What do you want to eat tonight? I can make it. Gu Qinghan turned her head to glare at you, speaking slowly and deliberately. Anything, alright. As you said that, you quickened your pace towards the door. But behind you, Gu Qinghan's voice came. We're having garlic shrimp tonight. If I don't get to eat it, I'll tell Hua Jia that you're mistreating me. You laughed and agreed. Seeing you agree so quickly, Gu Qinghan was even more convinced that you were trying to make up for sneaking a bite. Brooding alone in silence. After returning home, you were busy cooking in the kitchen. Gu Qinghan was sitting on the sofa, quietly watching you with side light. Watching you as you busily moved around. Gu Qinghan suddenly fell into a daze, as if she were a hurt wife. Meanwhile, her husband was making her delicious food. At that moment, you suddenly asked while holding a bag of hot pot base. Do you like spicy food? If you do, I can add more. Gu Qinghan coughed lightly. She spoke hesitantly with an extremely unnatural expression. Maybe let's put less spice. I don't like spicy food. Dining table store. You had peeled off the shell early on. Afraid that Gu Qinghan would get angry over something again. For you. If you don't mind, I can continue to peel for you. Oh, thank you. Gu Qinghan lowered her head, eating crayfish. Suddenly, she didn't dare to look up at you. Because Gu Qinghan sprained her foot today. So this was also the time you talked the most. The day after tomorrow, I have something to do outside. So let Hua Jia take care of you the afternoon after tomorrow. So, how about having Gu take care of you the day after tomorrow? So, let Hua Jia take care of you tomorrow afternoon. Gu Qinghan looked up and gazed at you in confusion. There's no need to acknowledge these small matters with me. Then she lowered her head to eat shrimp again. With a look as if you didn't care one way or the other. You smiled slightly. Then you placed the lobster you had peeled in front of Gu Qinghan. Why did you suddenly take an interest in peeling lobster for me? Gu Qinghan. Gu Qinghan turned her head and looked at you with a strange gaze. Of course, it's because I won't see you the day after tomorrow. Just feeling a bit guilty. You looked at Gu Qinghan and said with great interest. In fact, while Gu Qinghan got used to having you in her life, weren't you also getting used to her? What are you feeling guilty about? Anyway, our marriage only has 20 days left. Regarding the matter of divorce. Looking pleased, as if she had scored a point back. Right. She and I are only in a sham marriage. I have to leave in a month. You nodded thoughtfully while standing up. I'll go back to my room first. I'll clean up after you finish eating. Gu Qinghan seemed to realize her mistake. She hurriedly spoke to remedy the situation. She quickly said, although there are only a little over 20 days, we can still get along happily. No way. However, you really don't want to discuss this topic anymore. You continued to walk and said, the outcome is the same. But what does it matter how beautiful the process is? Staring at your silhouette, Gu Qinghan suddenly had a lot to say. But all she could say was, that's true. Arriving at the room, you opened your computer and started typing as usual, preparing to make money quickly, getting ready for your departure in a month. And while you were typing, Qinghan was in the red flower oil. With the help of red flower oil and ointment, Gu Qinghan was already able to slowly walk back to her room on her own. Just as I was about to play with my phone, a pair of beautiful eyes noticed your pillow. Should I take it to him? Gu Qinghan hesitated at this moment. After all, she had already changed into her cool pajamas. But why doesn't he come to get it himself? Is he really just waiting for me to deliver it? Gu Qinghan stared blankly at your pillow. Yet in her heart, a silent competition began to brew. Just like a couple in love having a cold war. Who will send the first message? If I bring the gift into his room first, it feels like I've lost. Realizing this was a battle concerning her own dignity, Gu Qinghan immediately got ready for a fight. Meanwhile, you finished typing and prepared to sleep. You also noticed that one of your pillows was missing. After opening the door and discovering light shining through the crack from Gu Qinghan's room, you still went directly to sleep. Losing half a pillow is a small matter. Being misunderstood by someone is what truly matters. 11 p.m. After waiting and not seeing you make a move, Gu Qinghan finally couldn't take it anymore. Stealthily opened the door to take a peek at your room. Only then did I realize that you had turned off the lights to sleep. Gu Qinghan turned her head, staring at your pillow, lost in thought. Suddenly, she looked at the cat lying on her bed and had a sudden idea. We have a cat that betrays us from the inside. Just now, Gu Qinghan was bored, looking at the VA site. She found that the two hot comments on the video with Master Yun were from the same person. Furthermore, Yun had interacted with her comments. The two seemed quite close. Audrey Cat, Master Gloom. Your song is really fantastic. Master Gloom, thank you for your support. If you want to use it for dancing, feel free. Yi Qingchen curiously clicked on this person's profile. only to find that they were a blogger who danced suggestively. The latest two popular videos both had music by Master Gloom. And surprisingly, the related search terms in the search box were still, "Are Gu Yun and Audrey a couple?" Gu Qinghan stared at this linking phrase. She couldn't help but laugh. At the same time, she looked at you across the table, who was also playing on your phone, and asked, "Have you seen the video on VA? I think I've discovered Gu Yun's secret." Upon hearing this, your eyelids drooped. Could it be that she knows I am Gu Yun? But you pretended to be curious and asked, "What secret did you find out about him? He might be shipping with Audrey." Gu Qingchun nodded, thinking that your interaction with Audrey was to generate buzz and attract attention. Hearing this, you immediately sighed in relief. Then you pretended to be puzzled and said, "So who do you think is pursuing whom?" "It's that cat pursuing Gu Yun." Because Gu Yun didn't comment under her video. While Gu Qinghan said this, she was seething inside. Gu Yun was unwilling to respond to Washing Entertainment's messages. But she became interested in this edgy cat. And you became interested when you heard Hu Qinghui's analysis. Do you think she will succeed? Probably. Men all like women with curves. Gu Qinghan looked at you with a somewhat unfriendly expression at this point. Her tone also carried a hint of jealousy. Realizing this, you quickly made a break. "I found out about this blogger from watching videos by the great Yun. Moreover, Pai Jun and the others are just flattering each other for business." After you said that, you made an excuse to wash the dishes and slipped into the kitchen. At that moment, Gu Qinghan had also lost her earlier anger. She sat blankly on the sofa, constantly petting Fu Bao. "Aren't you going to work today?" After washing the dishes, you seemed to remember something. Turning around, you looked at Yi Qingchun and asked in confusion. Usually at this time, the Ice Queen should have left long ago. But what's going on today? Our company's top star, Shenmu Gu, only has a competition the day after tomorrow. So she's resting these 2 days. Gu Qingchun began to explain in a dull manner. Then she tilted her head and looked at you. "Am I bothering you at home?" "No, not at all." You lowered your head, feeling extremely embarrassed. Suddenly, you remembered that she is the owner of this house. After returning to the room, you opened VA Station to inquire about the Audrey news. What's going on with the trending topics on VA Station? Zhao Ruoshi, upon seeing the news, was shocked. She hurriedly typed a triple denial. However, only she knows that, in order to create this group, she has been fully preparing for these past 2 days. First, she kept hinting to the fans. Then, during the live stream, she awkwardly avoided the fans' questions. The rest relied on the audience's own imagination. However, she didn't really mind it. She just continued scrolling on her phone. At that moment, Zhao Ruoshi sent another message. "Master Gloomy Cloud, can you write me a song?" This time you readily accepted the request. This has nothing to do with her good figure. It's just because she's the second person you can chat easily with, apart from Xiao Hai. She's just the second person you get along with on VA site. After understanding each other's needs, you quickly decided to give the song, Calories, to Zhao Ruoshi. Soon, you finished writing the sheet music and lyrics. However, Audrey can't understand the sheet music at all, so there isn't a suitable candidate to sing it for now. At that moment, you suddenly thought of Zhou Maki. The big shot has mentioned that he knows a bit about music. Mainly because her spicy girl image fits the song well. Thinking of this, you immediately dialed Xiao Hai's number. "Brother Yun, I was just about to look for you," Xiao Hai said excitedly on the other end of the line. "Just pass me Zhou Yanqi's number." Next, you told Xiao Hai about your plan. You also promised to write a song for Xiao Hai. After hanging up the phone, you started adding Zhou Yuanqi as a friend. Meanwhile, Gu Qingchun was practicing silently. This song is quite difficult. Even though this top female star in the entertainment industry has outstanding vocal skills, it still took her the whole morning to get proficient. During break time, she didn't forget to complain to Hua Jia. "Marriage really is boring. That guy has been hiding in his room all morning. You were just in a sham marriage to meet your own needs," Hua Jia said casually. Originally, she was a bit worried. But now she only feels it's getting stranger. Why do I feel like he doesn't seem like a Saising fan? Moreover, he seems to not even know who you are. I don't know. Yi Qingchun also felt it was quite strange. The only time you had a relatively intimate interaction, it was still her who took the initiative after getting drunk. "It doesn't matter if I don't know. Anyway, you two are getting divorced in a month." Hua Jia helplessly reminded Gu Qingchun not to get too caught up in the role. Gu Qinghan stared at Hua Jia's message. A sudden, inexplicable sense of loss welled up inside her. Bald Chang and Bear Big and Bear 3 fought for 11 years and became friends. Pleasant Goat and Big Big Wolf battled for 7 years and also became close friends. Gu Qingchun's mind wandered for a long time, but she couldn't sort out her thoughts. Feeling somewhat irritable, she decided to distract herself. She used the official account of Washing Entertainment to send a message to Hiyun. She asked what key would be best to sing for the song's chorus. And upon seeing that the whole master had messaged her, she hurriedly replied. Just like that. Unbeknownst to you, you started a conversation in this way. Teacher Hyun, are you considering becoming a lyricist for washing entertainment? We will definitely make you satisfied in terms of price. Gu Qingchun has invited you again, no matter how big she gets. Thank you for your company's appreciation. But I don't have that plan right now. After thinking for a long time, you still refused. After all, you already plan to create your own label. Right now, you definitely cannot join any talent agency. Another pull. Zhou Yuanqi looked at the phone message with surprise. It seems that Xiao Zui is about to take the bait. However, as half a sea king, Tong Maki deliberately took another half hour before agreeing. She sent a message that was neither enthusiastic nor indifferent. Brother Yun, thank you for adding me on WeChat. And when you saw Zhou Yuanqi say that, you instantly felt that it was almost certain. Can I ask you out to sing? You just added me on WeChat and want to meet face to face already. It really is quite overwhelming. Seeing that the other party didn't reply, you hurriedly added. It's like this. I wrote a song. I want to ask you to help me sing it. Sounds good. What time specifically? At this moment, Zhou Huanqi believed that the offensive from that day was very effective. It even seems to have won your heart. Let's do it tomorrow. After singing, I'll treat you to dinner. The moment you saw Zhou Yuanqi agree so readily, you accepted. Feeling happy, you also sent her a smile emoji. And Zhou Yuanqi felt confident upon seeing the message. Xiao Qiao lifted the corners of her mouth. Noon. Yi Qingchun had business at the company. He greeted you and then left. Therefore, you quickly took care of things afterward. Then you started to write a song for Xiao Hai. This time you chose Gentleman. By the time you were done, you found it was already 6:30, 7 o'clock in the evening. You had just finished preparing dinner. Unexpectedly, Yi Qinghan suddenly said she would come back to eat. With no choice, you had to add another soup. When Yi Kingswan entered the door, you had just finished preparing dinner. Gu Qingchun took off his thin coat. However, her nose suddenly caught the aroma of the food. In a daze, I casually handed the clothes to you. Seeing this, you hesitated for a moment. After a moment of hesitation, you still took the fragrant sheer fabric. At this point, Yi Qinghan also realized what was happening. The person beside her was not her assistant, but her husband. However, since you accepted it, she had to quickly change the subject. Dinner looks very lavish today. You're in for a treat. You hung up Yi Qinghan's sheer blouse and said, drink more soup later. No way. Drinking soup at night will make you gain weight. Gu Qinghan seriously refused your suggestion. Alright then. Then I'll drink a bit more myself. You didn't insist. Casually, you also pushed the soup towards yourself and said. Gu Qinghan watched your decisive and neat movements. Suddenly, she felt a little bit annoyed. No way. I want a bowl. You're already used to Yi Qinghan's mood swings. Smiling, you pushed the soup a little closer to her. The couple silently ate their meal. Only the lucky one who got the drumstick, rubbing against your leg while making a meowing sound. In the end, it was Gu Qinghan who took the initiative to speak. By the way, what type of videos do you post on VA? You've been worried that Gu Qinghui would ask you about this these days. At that moment, you were caught off guard and almost choked from fright. I can't say that. Gu Qinghui keenly noticed your reaction. I can't even say that. It wouldn't be something inappropriate for children, would it? You, already feeling guilty, were questioned by Gu Qingchun. You weren't feeling well at all. You wanted to deny it but hesitated to speak. You absolutely cannot expose yourself in front of Gu Qingchun. You could only keep tugging back and forth with her. Yi Qingchun noticed your awkward demeanor. She revealed an understanding smile and said, if you like music, then I should learn more from Master Yun. Seeing Gu Qingchun, I couldn't get tangled in this topic again. You breathed a sigh of relief and casually said, got it, dear. Just as the words left your mouth, you realized you had misspoken. In a moment of panic, you simply looked up tightly at Gu Qingxi, preparing to see her shy and then use it as an excuse to open up. However, what you didn't expect was, Gu Qingchun not only didn't blush or feel shy, but blinked her beautiful eyes. Instead, she blinked those lovely eyes and locked her gaze with you. When things seem off, there's bound to be something unusual. You stared blankly into her eyes for 2 seconds. Then you quickly got up and said, I'm going to wash the dishes. Watching your hasty retreat, Gu Qingchun let out a heavy sigh. That was close. I almost got caught being shy. She seems to be even easier to tease than I imagined. Thinking this, Gu Qingchun became bolder. Decided to tease you a bit later. Soon came out after washing the dishes. Gu Qinghan began calling you to go for a walk. And she claimed that she wanted to help you improve your social anxiety. Just like that, Gu Qingchun wrapped you up tightly and took you out 17. There were quite a few people in the neighborhood at this time. Most of them are grandparents who take their kids out for a walk. This was your first time coming down with Gu Qinghan. Gu Qingchun was like a glacier, not very talkative. You can't even mention it. It was impossible to initiate a conversation with Gu Qingchun. The two walked one in front of the other, strolling along the paths of the community park, until a few minutes later, encountered a large Chiji on a path in the park. You often ran into her when you went downstairs these days. After a few encounters, she was practically an acquaintance. The aunt saw you with Gu Qinghan. While playing with her little grandson, she casually came over to greet you. Good evening, little brother. Is this your girlfriend? You smiled shyly and said, she is my wife. Gu Qinghan originally intended to nod and greet before leaving. Unexpectedly, when she nodded in acknowledgement, she happened to meet the chubby granddaughter in the other person's arms. The little one saw the pretty big sister, and her round, sparkling eyes brightened up immediately. She had an innocent and naive look. Even someone as icy as Gu Qinghan couldn't help but glance a little longer. This little thing is quite cute. The aunt was very perceptive. She immediately started showing off in front of Gu Qinghan. Do you want a hug? Our little Tian loves to be hugged by pretty big sisters. Gu Qinghan was taken aback for a moment. She didn't know if it was because this aunt was too good with words, or if she was just unable to refuse the little one's expectant little request. Or perhaps she couldn't resist the little one's hopeful eyes. In the end, I still reached out cautiously to hold the little one in my arms. I began to awkwardly and clumsily play with the baby. The auntie, seeing this, smiled and spoke cheerfully. Young man, look how much your wife likes the baby. You should put in some effort too. Do your best. Hurry and have one, okay? The smile on your face instantly disappeared. You could only awkwardly nod in response. She and I are temporary spouses. Where should I put in effort? Where am I supposed to try? And unlike your awkwardness, Gu Qinghan truly lives up to her title as the top female star in the entertainment industry. Her expression management is on point. I saw her smiling as she returned the little one to the other person. Then she turned her head to look at you and said with a smile, "We will work hard." Yet you still just nodded hurriedly. And you smiled without being able to say a word. Ha ha ha. Girl, don't tease your partner. Be careful, he might keep you up all night when you get home tonight. Just go and let you. Be careful, he might not let you sleep when you go back tonight. The aunt drove the car without a hint of embarrassment. But at this moment, Gu Qinghan, who was all show and no substance, couldn't handle it. Upon realizing what the aunt meant, your face instantly flushed with a hint of red, and you gazed at Gu Qingchun, hesitating for a moment. For some reason, you suddenly and vengefully grabbed Yi Qinghan's delicate hand. The tender and smooth touch was slightly cold, causing your heart to tremble. You jerk. Yi Qinghan felt the warm wrap of a large hand. Her body immediately softened. After a moment of panic, she quickly turned her face away. A pair of beautiful eyes stared at you with resentment. Her eyes are really beautiful. Plus, the natural pressure she exudes with her face. Normally, you would really shrink back under her glare. But now, you not only haven't backed down, but stubbornly look back with pride. At the same time, you tighten your grip on her hand a little more, while enjoying the silky touch. While feigning calmness and pulling her forward, the bastard Shiqiang feels a prickling anger. Yi Qingchun is so angry it's driving her mad. She even wants to throw you over her shoulder immediately. But strangely, she feels that her heart rate is a bit off, as if it's beating too fast. Now, Miss Gu starts to panic. She has been single her whole life and has never encountered such a situation. But even so, he still refuses to admit defeat. Her beautiful eyes narrow slightly while her heart hardens. She pulls you close with one swift motion. In an instant, the two of you are pressed tightly together, inseparable. Just as you are surprised by Yi Qingchun's actions and turn your head in confusion, the next moment, a sharp pain shoots through the tender flesh at your waist. You gasp and look down. You see a delicate hand using your body as cover. It is firmly pressing against your waist. Gu Qinghan exclaims, "Let go of me." You feel a strong sense of crisis. You secretly try hard to pull your hand back. But the next second, you start questioning your life again. You see Gu Qinghan's normally soft and boneless arm. At this moment, it domineeringly and cleverly holds your hands and feet. You can't pull away at all. Gu Qinghan sees your distress. Her pretty face reveals an unusually cunning smile. Don't. Isn't this hand holding quite nicely? Why let go? Okay. If you keep this up, then when we get home, I might just